Good afternoon and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Lee Doubleday and I'm with the Imagine America Foundation. I'm excited about today's topic, Life After High School Training for 2022 Graduates, sponsored by Bryant Stratton College. Bryant Stratton College has an online school as well as 19 ground campus locations in New York, Ohio, Virginia, and Wisconsin. Bryant Stratton College is also a new partner of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award Programs. So if you would like more information on how to help your students apply for our scholarship to attend this institution, please visit our website, which is www.imagine-america.org. Or you can either email or call myself, and I'll be sending you a scholarship link as well as a PDF flyer after this call is over, as well as a recording of this presentation tomorrow morning. Since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country, as everyone knows, is facing a serious shortage of qualified workers. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Joining us today to discuss in detail the looming worker shortage and how Bryant Stratton College is helping meet this need is Crystal Morgan. Crystal is Bryant Stratton College's premier high school presenter and has been working with high schools and college admissions for over 15 years now. But before turning the program over to Crystal, let me outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, with question and answers at the end of the presentation. All participants can and are encouraged to submit questions while the presentation is in session via the Q&A or the chat feature in this Zoom meeting. At the end of the presentation, or approximately 2:25 p.m., we will then present any questions offered by the participants and address as many questions as we can and provide written responses in follow-up emails if necessary. We will have a hard close at 2:30 p.m. to be respectful of your time. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Crystal. Crystal, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Lee. This is a great opportunity to be able to speak with everyone this afternoon, so I appreciate the opportunity. Again, my name is Crystal Morgan. I'm with Bryant Stratton College, and I typically work with high school juniors and seniors. One of the topics we've been talking about here recently is challenges facing tomorrow's workforce. So as we go through that, I also want to share what are some opportunities to better prepare students for life after high school, and then Bryant Stratton College's path to college and career success. The one thing that we know is the workforce is ever evolving, from recruitment to onboarding and retention. It's important now more than ever to consider how your students' education will prepare them for the workforce that is ever evolving. When we talk about the workforce, a lot of what we look at is what was it like pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic, which is that 2020 to now and beyond. There's a lot of things that have changed in how we do business. Expectations of the employees as well as the employers have changed. There's a lot of perceptions versus realities, generational gaps, and new normals. So imagine being that 17, 18, or 19-year-old who's entering the workforce during these challenging and ever-changing times. What can we do to better prepare them for what they're walking into and how to navigate some of these new normals? Growing the workforce via skilled education will better prepare our students for future career success. The old way of thinking was get into a college, get a solid education, earn your degree, start the job search process. Fast forward, the newer way of thinking is I want to get into a good and satisfying career. What jobs would I be a good fit for? Where can I get hands-on level of experience? And where can I gain the skills that employers need and are looking for? One of the things we're seeing is that in the workforce, in a variety of industries, there's a ton of job vacancies and the demand on existing staff is much higher. You walk into any organization, it could be something as simple as fast food or retail or into a Fortune 500 company. But what we're seeing is understaffed, underpaid, lack of training, underappreciated, overworked, overwhelmed, and in many times employees are just over it. And because of that, again, think about being that new young adult walking into the workforce, and you would normally have those mentors or team leads or employees with longevity that are welcoming you in and helping you to become a part of the team. In today's world, we're not seeing that as much because everyone's a little bit in self-preservation, just trying to hold on, to get by, and to do what's required of them. So it's going to be even more important that we help these young adults to navigate and make sure they walk in employment and career ready. So what are some of our opportunities to prepare them for life after high school? First and foremost, you play an important role. Counselors and teachers truly are the career catalyst that can help change and mold lives. You may be the only one giving them real facts about college and career readiness. High school students need to learn and understand how high school prepares them for college and how college prepares them for a career. You may be the only one that provides the motivation needed to think about and pursue a successful life after high school. And that really starts with attending college and/or deciding what college is the best for them. You also are often the conduit between your student and the college or colleges that are the best fit for the student and their interests and career aspirations. The one thing we all agree on is that the workforce needs an infusion of skilled workers. And that starts with really helping young adults to understand what is the difference between job and career. You know, many of our students are familiar with jobs. You know, they may have had some while going through high school, but they may not realize that once they really get into a career, something that they enjoy, something that brings them financial stability, health benefits, vacation time. You know, I always talk about paid time off as a benefit. You know, that career is something that they can really aspire to be and something to look forward to. And so there is a significant need for educated workers with skills such as networking, professional integration, teamwork, research and evaluation, adaptability, critical thinking and creative problem solving, communication, conflict resolution, leadership, and for those who decide to go a more clinical route, patient care. So we can really help them by getting them to explore a variety of career options, you know, help our students to really determine their interests. As I work with high school juniors and seniors, we find that many times from their junior to senior year and to graduation and even into their first year of college, they're still changing their mind, trying to figure out exactly what career path makes the most sense for them. They may start out thinking they want to be in a trade. They may flip their thought process over to getting into, you know, the legal field and may end up, when all is said and done, working in human and social services or even potentially in the healthcare field. So get them thinking early. Let them start exploring all those different options and opportunities. I like to help them by really getting them to think about their key characteristics. And you can start to classify what type of a worker they are and what type of careers would be a good fit. So first and foremost, are they a doer? You know, do they enjoy working with their hands, especially on projects that allow them to be more physically active? If so, they may be a doer. Doers are often classified as being practical, stable, self-controlled, and independent. So some of those career possibilities could be an athletic trainer, a police officer, an engineer, a physical therapist, or a landscape architect. Are they an investigator? Investigators are observant and curious about the world around them. Typically, they are inquisitive and intellectually self-confident, as well as quite logical. These students, you know, can thrive in careers such as a computer analyst, a paralegal, a police detective, a technical writer, or perhaps even a nurse. Are they an artist? Artistic people value creative self-expression. Artists tend to be innovative, imaginative, and unconventional. They love working freely and often put their emotions into their work. Some of those careers may lead them into jobs or careers such as a musician, a painter, a photographer, a graphic designer, or an interior decorator, just to name a few. Or are they a helper? Helpers enjoy jobs that allow them to interact with people. It may include new skills or helping them with personal issues. Helpers can exhibit emotional attachments and tend to be very in touch with their feelings and empathetic. So they may enjoy career opportunities such as youth services, a social worker, a paramedic, or a parole officer, They may even want to become a home health aide or a child care provider. Entertainers. Entertainers are most often self-confident, social, and adventurous. This includes making decisions, selling products, leading groups, and debating politics. Those career possibilities could include getting into banking or a branch manager, a business manager, a personal recruiter, advertising executive, or perhaps a TV anchor or radio personality. And then we have our detailers. Detailers are conventional people who enjoy collecting and organizing. They work well within a system and are efficient and practical. Detailers enjoy playing by the rules and work well within their boundaries. So perhaps an accountant, an insurance underwriter, a court reporter, a paralegal, or a proofreader as examples. The one thing that we know is for students entering life after high school, whether it be the workforce or going into the military or getting started with college, their possibilities and opportunities are endless. But as we've helped them to navigate and figure out their key characteristics, the type of worker they are, the types of careers they may have an interest in, let's really get them focused on 2 or 3 different career paths and what it's going to take for them to get there. And then have them begin researching those career educational requirements, because not all careers are created equal in terms of the educational requirements that are needed. Perhaps they need on-the-job training, an apprenticeship, or just a simple certification. They may also just look at, the community college to get started, a career college, a trade school, or perhaps it's that 2-year or 4-year more traditional route. So they really want to look at all their opportunities and figure out what is going to be the best educational path to help them meet the career goals that they have in mind. Once they've started to explore the possibilities, we know that high school juniors and seniors know how to dream big, but what goals are going to help them to get there? A goal without a plan is simply a wish. So we need to help them with setting those short-term and long-term goals. Where do they want to be a year from now, 3 to 5 years from now, or even 10 years from now? And then once they have those goals, how do we chunk that down for them and help them come up with a plan? And then more importantly, take action. And take action on that shorter term goal that's going to help them to achieve, in the future, that long-term goal. For example, when we talk to students that may have an interest in getting into healthcare, we know that healthcare is a booming industry right now. So because the demand in healthcare provides various career opportunities depending on the person's preferences or goals, such as what setting or type of work or field they want to get into, by really narrowing it down and building that career pathing opportunity, it allows students to take a phased approach to their education, allowing them to experience the profession before deciding and investing in their next educational step. As you can see here, working in the healthcare field, there are so many opportunities, both clinical and non-clinical. So at times we may have students that know they want to be in healthcare, but they're not quite sure that they're ready for dealing one-on-one with patients or drawing blood or doing injections or, any of those pieces. So we might narrow it down into clinical versus non-clinical. Let's say the student knows they're more clinical. Based on being clinical, we are still going to have conversations with them about, does it make sense for you to jump right into a bachelor's of nursing program or an associate's of nursing program? Or do we perhaps start you at a medical assistant or a licensed practical nurse based on where you are academically and also your ability to handle the rigor of the program, just based on life in general? So it's really important that as they think about the career goals, is there a stepping stone that they need to take to really narrow it down, scope their focus, where and how do they get started? And you can really do that with any of the career paths, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. So Bryant Stratton's college path to college and career success looks a little bit different, meaning our primary focus is on educating tomorrow's workforce. So we have nearly 170 years of educating students with 19 building-based locations and 1 online campus. We also have top-notch career services assistants in all locations focused on preparing graduates for career procurement. So in the state of New York, we have 3 campuses in Western New York, which would be Buffalo, Amherst, and Orchard Park. We have 2 in Rochester, Henrietta, and Greece. We have 2 in Syracuse, which is Liverpool and Syracuse downtown, and a campus in Albany. And so across the state, students have the ability to come to our campus and or take classes at the online division. Now, staying with the theme of healthcare, I mentioned we would talk about it a little bit further about how students can take that stackable approach. And so using the degrees that we offer in our New York campuses, you can see that a student could actually come into our diploma level program, which would take about a year, make the decision on whether that is or isn't the best fit for them, and then move on to their associate's degree, and then ultimately move on to their bachelor's degree with us, or potentially taking their credits and going somewhere else. Now, for a complete list of programs offered at our New York campuses or college-wide, you can certainly visit our website, because we do have programs other than areas of study in healthcare. But we have put an emphasis on that simply because of the booming need for healthcare workers right now as a result of the pandemic. And we are prepared to educate tomorrow's healthcare workers with our industry-aligned medical wing, providing students hands-on instruction that will allow them to gain real-world experience, and experience that today's healthcare employers need and are looking for. Our students gain theory, learn assessment skills, learn to apply soft skills in a clinical classroom environment, and it all not only enhances their learning environment, but it also helps to set them up for a successful transition into their healthcare careers. One of the other things that we've really worked through these last couple of years is figuring out the best way to educate our students. And what we have found is that blended learning really is the best opportunity. It's the best of both worlds. Students have the same instructor both in the virtual and in-class setting, and then they have virtual assignments and assessments after class. What that means is they have 24/7 access and support, on-campus and virtual tutoring, virtual libraries and librarians, but they do get direct instructor contact and face-to-face connections with a regular question forum. So this helps students not only balance outside responsibilities beyond just their education, but it also helps with things like transportation, because many of our younger students, further and further, we're finding they wait longer to get their driver's license. So they're relying on public education, or public transportation, should I say, or their parents or friends to actually get them back and forth to class. And so because of that, we're really trying to figure out how do we meet students where they are, and this really truly has become the best learning environment for them. The other thing I mentioned is that we focus on careers in mind. And so when we look at our healthcare focus, and again, for all of our programs, we do have employer partners. But if our students are in our Albany location, they might work places like Albany Medical Center or St. Peter's Health Partners. In Rochester, Rochester Regional Health, or Rochester Brain and Spine. Syracuse, we've got St. Joseph's, as well as Helio Health. And then in Western New York, we have Ascension Health, Ellicott Center, Buffalo General Medical Center. And again, that's just to name a few, and that's really with a focus on just healthcare specific. We also offer programs in legal services, such as human and social services, paralegal, and criminal justice. We have a few different business types of degrees, HR, marketing, accounting, technology is a focus for us as well, with opportunities for students to get certifications, diplomas, and associate's degrees. And then we have our diploma and associate's degree in early childhood education. I certainly don't want to forget to mention Bobcats Athletics. So as a career college, while our focus is on getting students career ready, we also want them to have that collegiate feel. Part of that collegiate experience is having the opportunity to participate in athletics, clubs, and other activities. So with our Bobcats athletics throughout the state of New York, we have men and women's basketball, track and field, soccer, men's golf, men's baseball, and up and coming esports, where students have the opportunity to earn athletic scholarships in addition to academic scholarships to help make college affordable. The resources that are available to your students, whether they're solely looking at Bryant Stratton College or they're still seeking to find the best fit for them, students can meet with our admissions team because we are here to support them with really career fit exploration. We do virtual and on-campus tours. Our admission staff is extremely supportive and will help the students to really identify what are they looking for in a college, figuring out are we the right fit or perhaps to point them in the right direction. We also have a financial aid team that helps students with doing things like putting together their FAFSA, putting together that financial plan of what do they qualify for in terms of grants, loans, and scholarships, and really sitting down with parents and students and explaining what that means. The nice thing is if a student is considering multiple schools, when they meet with their financial aid team here and they're completing their FAFSA, our staff can help them with adding our school code here, as well as the school code for the other schools that they're looking to compare financial packages. Once a student has chosen Bryant Stratton College, the one thing I can assure you is that our academics team is here to ensure and support the academic success of each student. So there is free tutoring and advisement. Our instructors are versed in the industry in which they teach, and they are accessible via email, by phone, or in person. Our career services team, we've talked about that a little bit, but with our career services team, their sole focus is on helping students enter the workforce. So they will work on things like resume prep and assistance, interview prep, including mock interviews with actual employers, general career advisement, or assistance with locating and leveraging internship and practicum experience. So what are some of the ways that we can partner outside of, having us meet one-on-one with students that you think may have interest? We do a variety of topics, both in person and virtual for high school students. We can do those in person, providing all the materials and technology needed, or virtual via Teams or your preferred platform. Some of the topics that we do workshops on is resume writing and interview skills, social media in the real world, your personal brand, financing your education, and budgeting. We also can custom build workshops by the request of teachers and counselors to meet your curriculum or your classroom. Other ways we can partner is to set up bus trips, field trips, career days, college fairs, and financial aid fairs. So to learn more about workshop offerings or to book a workshop at your school, you can contact me directly and I will put you in contact with your local high school coordinator. To do additional research or to learn more about our college, you can follow us online on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can view our website at bryantstratton.edu, or to learn more about Bobcats athletics, you can go to bscbobcats.com. And with that, Lee, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you, Crystal. We are now going to open this up for the Q&A portion of our presentation. I'm also going to be throwing up a poll. Oops, nope, wrong poll. I'm going to be, there will be a follow-up survey after you leave this meeting. There's 4 questions on that survey, if you wouldn't mind answering those for us once we get to that point. But if you have a question for either myself or Crystal, feel free to type it into the Q&A or the chat feature. And Crystal, this first question has to do with SAT score requirements. Are there any SAT score or GPA requirements?
So for the majority of our programs, the answer is no. We have our own entrance requirements and placement testing that's required that are program specific. We do encourage students to obviously provide us with their high school transcripts because we do have academic-based scholarships. We also review ACT and SAT scores for programs such as physical therapy assistant or occupational therapy assistant. But again, we do have our own placement test that we take a look at as well.
And when you come into classrooms and speak to students, and I know that you were mentioning earlier the doer and helper and entertainer personality profiles, do you do that test in the classroom with the students as part of your presentation, or can you?
Absolutely. So we have a couple of different workshops that help students identify their career clusters. One is Career Compass, which is talking about those exact personality clusters that we just talked about. We also have had teachers to request us to come in and do the actual Myers-Briggs for their students. So it's really just a matter of what the teachers are requesting, and then we can really do those assessments to help students figure out their paths forward.
Okay. And do you have any events coming up at any of the New York campuses?
So I know right now our campuses are putting together their summer schedules, and I know that we will be sending those out to all of our high school contact lists so we can ensure we get that to teachers and counselors. But I think right now our biggest focus is on, supporting students through graduation, and this
Right.
next couple weeks is really about them. And then we do a lot of senior grad nights and spring, or not spring, but summer college fair type things, just to get students in where they can make those final college plans. So stay tuned for those additional dates.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're late in the year, but there are definitely every single year there are always students who are still undecided at this time on where it is that they want to go to school. So I think it's important. And the next question has to do with athletics and whether or not, or athletics and how it pertains to your, can you talk to how it pertains to your regional accreditation and how students can come in and do athletics and then move to a different school if that's what they want to do? As I'm sure that some of our audience may have students who are interested in athletics, but might not be making it to Syracuse.
Yeah, absolutely. So our college, first and foremost, we are regionally accredited through Middle States, which is very, much so the same as your SUNY schools in New York. We pride ourselves on the fact that means your students are getting a quality education, but they also are receiving an education where they have transcriptable and transferable credits, which means we can transfer college credits in and students can transfer college credits out. The great thing for our student athletes is many times, we may get a student athlete who had an aspiration of going to a D1 school, but perhaps academically they weren't quite there, or they needed to still, get that practice time in. They needed to come and play for a little bit longer to be ready for that Division I school, but they only have so much eligibility. So because of that, they can come to us, do their first 2 years, build their GPA, build their skill, apply to a 4-year, and continue on to earn their bachelor's degree while still playing, the sport that they're passionate around.
Right. Yeah. I think that's critically important. It also has a lot to do with your ability to offer federal financial aid, right?
Absolutely. So our college is absolutely able to point students in the direction of completing their FAFSA, seeing what Title IV funding they're eligible for, which would be the same as they would receive going to any other school. We would take a look to see what they're getting in the federal Pell Grant and loans. And we would certainly then take a look at institutional grant opportunities, scholarship opportunities, and even outside scholarship opportunities, because our college does do scholarship match for outside scholarships that students bring to us.
Okay. All right, great. Well, before closing, I just want to thank all of our participants for joining the call today. I'd also like to thank Crystal for sharing with us today's presentation, and I encourage you to contact her directly with any future questions you may have. And I will include Crystal's information with the recording of this session and send that to you tomorrow. But on behalf of the Imagine America Foundation, Crystal and myself, I want to thank you all for your time and wish you the best rest of your day. Goodbye.